Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome to TrendSpider Live. Who is out there in the audience with us today? Today, we're going to be watching for the FOMC Minutes drop here. That's going to drop in about, what time is it? Yeah, we got about 20 minutes still. I started the stream a little bit early so we could chat a little bit before the action happens. Let's go ahead and check out what the SPY is up to today. Let's go down to the, we'll start on the 15-minute chart. As you can see on my chart right here, I have the previous day's levels indicator, which basically just shows you what the previous day's levels were. Obviously, this green bar right here is going to be the high from yesterday right there. So we just broke right above it. Looking pretty good going into the minutes. We opened up pretty good today, on a pretty bullish run, but it ended up being definitely a bull trap as we dropped below. We opened up above the previous day's high, and now we're kind of trading right above it, making a pretty nice uptrend going into the minutes so far. So we'll see what happens. But who is out there? Let me check out the chat. Let's see. Fed minutes are today. They're in 20 minutes. Will FOMC rise gold today? Let's check out gold. That's a good question. Gold, if we check out the daily, has been trading pretty good still recently. Honestly, it's been pretty bullish today. So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the FOMC minutes affects the entire market today. I don't know. TLT, the bond ETF, has been, still trading pretty low. So we'll see how that is affected as well. Looks like we made a gap down, and we're honestly looking to try to fill it right there anytime now. We're in the gap. So we'll see what that happens. What's up, Napoleon? Hello from Washington, D.C. Glad to have you in here. But yeah, another thing I wanted to show you guys today is there's been a ton of golden crosses happening lately. If you haven't seen our golden cross video on YouTube, definitely check that out because there's a ton happening right now. I know I saw one happen on Amazon. I have the golden cross spotter scan right here to my right. By the way, if you guys aren't on TrendSpider already, I'm going to drop a link in the chat so you guys can get a nice deal. We just had our 4th of July sale end, so unfortunately you missed that. But I got a pretty sick deal for you guys. You can get 50% off a TrendSpider plan using that link specifically. It's going to end today only for you guys in the live stream as a thank you for showing up and sitting here with us watching the FOMC minutes. And you can get a trial for just 14 bucks, and you could follow along if you want, because we're going to go through a bunch of scans right here and we'll see what's going on. And so first off, I have the golden cross indicator, our custom indicator, on my chart right now. You guys can import that if you're following along using this link right here. And I'm also going to drop you guys the golden cross spotter scan link before I forget, which is this scanner right over here. I'll show you how to use it in a second, just so you can find golden crosses happening now. I mean, look at how big this list is. Tons of golden crosses happening. As you can see, one just happened on Amazon. Candles turned gold. 50-day SMA crossed over the 200-day SMA, which is the golden cross. We got one on Affirm. Just happened. All these scan results are golden crosses that happened within the last 10 days. Let's see. We also got Airbnb. Let me remove this. So Airbnb is looking good. Let's see what else we got. I know we had some other pretty nice results in here. MCHP, I think I've heard of that. MU, this is a semiconductor stock. This one's, looking pretty nice. Check the weekly. It's trading, pretty close to the high end of its all-time range. SPY definitely came down from earlier today. So yeah, that's interesting. But what else do we got here? Yeah, I think Amazon's probably the most hype one. Nvidia's in there. Also, you guys, Oscar just had a golden cross. If you guys didn't see my webinar lately, we put it on YouTube the other day. And we basically created a scan called the small cap radar to find the stocks matching what Oscar was doing before it broke out. So definitely recommend checking out that. And it's very cool that Oscar had a golden cross. And so what I actually want to do with you guys real quick while we wait for the meeting or the minutes is go ahead and backtest some of these golden cross results. And so we can do that using the golden cross trader strategy here. I don't think I dropped the link for that, so let me go ahead and do that. So if you guys want to backtest golden crosses, like I'm about to do right now, you can import it using the link down there. And then we can just plot it on any stock we want and then press run. So as you can see, Oscar Health on the golden cross front has been okay. The last golden cross played out pretty well. It entered right there at 791, which is actually a pretty good spot. And then it exited for a 132% gain when that death cross appeared. And here we are having a new golden cross. And with how hype it is, fundamentals look good. Definitely the historical results aren't incredible, but I don't know. The last one played out pretty well, so you never know. You never know. Let's check out how NVIDIA backtests. Let's backtest the golden cross on NVIDIA right now. It's an interesting one. Yeah. NVIDIA looks great, actually. Look at this. You pretty much have you were actually outperforming NVIDIA, or at least performing as well as NVIDIA since its inception. You mostly avoided this 2022 drawdown with this golden cross strategy. And then you were outperforming for a while. You only stopped. No, you're outperforming until now. So the golden cross has been pretty good on NVIDIA. And it just had one right here. If we pull down the chart, you can see there was just recently a death cross that locked in a 518% gain. I think I just zoomed in. You guys can see that right there. Yes, the 52. Well, no, it's not the EMA. It's the SMA for the golden cross. But it's on the daily chart. That's what most people are. The official golden cross time frame is the daily chart. So that's what we're using. And as you can see, NVIDIA has been popping off, as I'm sure you guys have seen. Just had a golden cross, and look at the backtest results. It looks pretty nice. Lower, pretty much the golden cross and most of these trend following strategies, these moving average crossovers, they're usually going to have a lower max drawdown. As you can see, it does. So you're going to avoid some drawdowns and potentially outperform, depending. And there's a 79% win rate on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is obviously a killer stock, so it's probably an outlier, but still a really good, crazy win rate for a trend following strategy like the golden cross. But let's go check out what the SPY is doing real quick, just because I want to see how we're looking going into the meeting. We'll disable this, and we have the previous day's levels. We're holding that little uptrend line. Yeah, definitely I can see what you mean about the bear flag, but we're bulls here, so we're going to keep that uptrend line there and see what happens. Let's see how QQQ is doing. Pretty much the same thing, trading above yesterday's high. Ended up, there's all-time high. We barely, look at that. We barely hit above all-time highs today. Nothing but wicks above it, though. I mean, I don't know. That must have been shorts getting stopped out from their positions. Pretty tough, usually shorting all-time highs, but ended up working today. Let me pull up the daily on NVIDIA or QQQ. Yeah, I mean, you guys can see this insane V-shaped recovery. I don't know if you guys follow us on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, Donald Trump tweeted it's the bottom, like literally at the bottom here. And ever since then, you guys pretty much straight up on the markets, SPY, QQQ, hitting all-time highs. Let's check out what the Bitcoin is doing. Just curious. Bitcoin has been kind of consolidating for a bit here, but it's, trading really close to that all-time high as well. So beautiful time in the markets, you guys. It's really a beautiful time in the markets. Honestly, let's check out how the golden cross is looking on Bitcoin. yeah, we actually had a golden cross on Bitcoin on the 24th. You can see it started pretty much at all-time highs, but if you got in, you wouldn't be down that much if you held. Let's see how it did historically. Pull up this golden cross trader backtester real quick. And then what I'm going to do actually real quick is I'm going to run it through the Variance Explorer in a second. How are we looking? Golden cross has been pretty good on Bitcoin. Definitely underperformed, but you avoided a lot of the volatility. Max drawdown is less, like I was saying earlier, usually is the case that you get, a lower max drawdown, but you did miss out on a little bit of gains too, but that's all right. Still a pretty solid strategy, something if you wanted to run it. But let's see what else we got. We had NVIDIA, we had Amazon, Mobileye, I think this is MBLY. Let's see how this one is looking. This one's trading pretty low on its range, but just had that golden cross. Yeah, pretty new stock. Been forming a base down here. That's not terrible. Definitely not terrible there. And not a whole lot of data here, as you can see. About 32 months of backtesting results since it came out. And yeah, it's done okay. Have avoided much of the volatility. All this drawdown right here. And should be an interesting one to watch going forward with this golden cross here, to be honest. We also have MU. Is there anything else y'all are watching today? I know someone said gold. Gold was looking pretty good. MU, golden cross strategy, has done all right. Nothing insane. Max drawdown is a little bit lower. Am I still zoomed in? Hold on. Yeah, I am. Let's go and zoom back out there for you guys. But yeah, lots and lots of golden crosses. We can go check on a few other stocks today. What else are we looking at? Let's see, Oscar. If you guys didn't see our small cap webinar recently, I actually have the small cap radar scan results over here to my right. Oscar is on there. We analyzed like a few of them. I remember all these ones with the blue check marks were ones that we were kind of interested in, or at least I was. ALHC was a big one. You can see the revenue has absolutely popped off, and it's bouncing nicely off that 50-day SMA right now, you guys. That's not bad. Not a bad look, honestly. MicroStrategy. Let's take a look. Looking pretty good. I mean, this one's just going to be probably following the Bitcoin. Honestly, setting up pretty well, though. Forming this base right here. Yeah. Looks pretty similar to Bitcoin. This is an interesting one. It is consolidating between the 430 to 350-ish range or so. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Probably looks more bullish than bearish to me. It's bouncing off the 50-day SMA. Let's check out the weekly. Pretty far above the 50-week SMA, but it bounced off it multiple times. We had this breakout right here from this base. Pulled back. It was looking pretty bad here. But now we're basing up again. So who knows? If we get a breakout, could see another all-time high. That's going to depend probably a lot on the Bitcoin. SMCI, not looking too bad. Yeah, this actually has a solid base breakout right here. You see this pivot level we have highlighted. Yeah, making higher lows, basing in all those higher lows, and just recently broke out, and it's looking to form a little base again. So, yeah, not bad. I wouldn't be surprised to see another breakout higher. I don't know how their fundamentals are. Revenue's growing. Did have a little bit of a decrease there. EPS. Yeah, EPS came down a bit. That's probably why you had that drawdown. Net cash from operating activities. The operating cash flow just had a nice increase. So I don't hate this one at all. I do not hate this one. The seasonality there in August is okay. Yeah, market has been tricky. That's what happens when there's this constant stories coming out about tariffs and, Let's check out Tesla. We got the Elon Musk and Trump feud going on. Adds to the commotion here. So it's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment in these markets. Definitely has been tricky. By the way, we got FOMC minutes dropping in 6 minutes. They will be posted on this website right here. Let me get the link for you guys if you wanted to check out the minutes in real time as they drop. I'll post it for you guys. That's from the federalreserve.gov website. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Tesla has been a very, very interesting one, as it always is. As it always is. Who knows where this one is going? They just had a pretty nasty revenue drop right there, as you can see. Fundamentally hasn't been looking super hot. Operating cash flow, everything fundamentally has really come down. Been a lot of turmoil with, Musk and the president. So, no, that's always a fun one to watch. I mean, it's a great one to trade if you like the volatility. We do have this pretty big gap right here. That came from him trying to form his new political party. So, I mean, looks like a lot of people tried to play this gap fill, ended up getting rejected, and it's back on down today. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'll check out App 11, always fun. Let's take a look. Let me go and delete all this stuff here. Check out the weekly. I like to check out the weekly first. Yeah, I mean, it's doing pretty well for itself. It's still trading. Hasn't really gone a whole lot of anywhere since November, but it's hanging in there. Holding on to this 50 SMA for dear life. So, spiraling for gap fill, question mark, 621. Depends which gap you're talking about. Is there... If you're talking about this gap fill, it filled this gap, of course. There's not a ton of gap left, but it could, I mean, I'd almost consider that a gap fill. It's just 2 wicks, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, it'll be a fun one playing a put right now, going right into FOMC minutes. With the way we've been acting today, with the immediate sell-off in the morning, I wouldn't be surprised if we came down. Would not be surprised if we came down, but you never know. Markets can be pretty random with these events. And we got 3 minutes, by the way, guys. We are holding this uptrend line for now. And it's lining up with yesterday's high. So that's definitely the 622 level is something I would definitely be watching. Definitely would be watching that level. So we'll see what happens. Got just a few minutes. Should be hopefully a good rip or dip here, some sort of volatility for us. So we'll see. Let's see how TLT is moving. TLT is moving great today. Yeah, it's been really good. It's in this gap right here. Check out the daily. Yep. So it is going to try to fill this gap here that started on July 3rd. Right before the long weekend. So, yeah, TLT is actually moving really nice. Up like 1%. It's not bad for bonds. Moment of truth is correct. Got gold open here. Let's go ahead and open, I don't know, the QQQ. And get us on the 1 minute so we can see this move happen. See this move happen in real time. We'll watch it together and see what happens. Good luck if you guys are trading anything. Are you guys in any trades right now? I know someone is looking for a 0 DTE. Always a good time. 1 minute. So we'll see what happens. See what happens. Let me go ahead and throw up our news widget. Right up there. Maybe we will get something interesting in there. Maybe we'll get something interesting. But yeah, we're about to see the reaction right now. Let's take a look at what happens. Just check some news. Looks like tariff stuff is going on. But moment of truth. Let's see what happens. QQQ level is sitting right here from the previous day high. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Looks like this is the news drop right here. Let's see what happens. We got a new candle. Nothing crazy happening yet. Looks like we're heading down on the 1 minute. This is the 1 minute, so take these movements with a grain of salt as always, because they can go back and forth pretty wildly. But this will be a good sentiment indicator regardless, just to see where the market decides to go ahead and go. You're in 175 call swings for August 1st. Good luck. Good luck. NVIDIA had that golden cross, so we'll see what happens there. Looks like we're moving up. We still are in this consolidation range. Looks like we're probably going to end up towards the top of it, and then we'll see if we can break out and hold, or if it's going to hit us with like another bear trap from earlier this morning that we had. So, but it's looking bullish so far. Let me go ahead and see what people are saying about Fed minutes, if anything. Let's re-add our news widget. See if anything dropped. Nothing really dropped there. If you refresh the Fed minutes page, you should be able to pull up the minutes. Yep. You got the PDF open right here. Market's not going too crazy off of it, so yeah, nothing too crazy. Yeah, just still chilling in this range right here. So we'll see what happens. Overall it's moving up though, which is a good sign for the bulls. Definitely was a sketchy one earlier this morning, seeing that nasty sell-off. We're still trading above yesterday's high, which is good for now. And yeah, we'll see if we can retrace, back up to the high that we made earlier. And this is the previous all-time high. You can see we had a nice rip up, had a breakout above all-time high, and then immediately rejected. Anyone who bought the breakout got destroyed. Anyone who was shorting had a stop above all-time high, got stopped out. And so, the bull case here is that we go ahead and break out of one of these pivot levels that we're trading at right now and continue back up to all-time highs. And then the bear case I would be looking out for is probably to break yesterday's high in this gap and continue downwards. So, yep. We'll see. Not a ton of movement. Had a little bit there. Nothing insanely wild. But, not always as hype as the actual FOMC day, because it's just minutes from that day, recapping what happened essentially. Let's check out what other stocks are doing. Let's check out NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA is actually looking a little bit more bearish. Let's check out Tesla. Tesla is, it's trading at yesterday's low. You can see it's yesterday's high is all the way on up there. So definitely more bearish on the day than other stocks. Let's see what these small cap runners are doing. Got HIMS pulled up. Have this massive gap right here that it looks like it's trying to fill. If we go ahead to the 5 minute, it's actually looking pretty good. Small caps have been acting a little more bullish probably. Look at small caps, you guys. Small caps are breaking out of today's high. We've been holding yesterday's high, but we're actually breaking out on IWM right now to this recent high. If you open up the daily, you can see it's looking pretty nice. Looking pretty good for small caps. Let's compare this daily chart wick. So you can see this wick on IWM has, the wick at the bottom forming a decent green base there, or green candle. And then if you look at SPY, not nearly as good. It's basically a doji candle. It's pretty flat right in the middle, flipping from red to green. Qs, which is mostly tech, looking a little bit more bullish than the SPY. But IWM is taking charge, you guys. IWM's, the small caps, is looking good. So, yeah, IWM is definitely leading. I would recommend checking out the small cap webinar that I did recently. It's definitely a perfect time to watch that and to check out the scan, the small cap radar scan. If you guys haven't seen that, just go to our YouTube. You're on it right now. Go check it out after this. But if you wanted to import the small cap radar scan, I got a link for you guys in the chat right there. So you can import that, and you'll get these list of results over here. It's searching through the Russell 2000. Has some solid results. We were looking at BCRX, and it was based mostly on fundamental stuff. FOMC just happened, man. The FOMC minutes just happened. The minutes dropped. The next FOMC meeting is at the end of the month. That one will be fun because rate cuts are potentially happening, expected to happen in September. Look at SPY. SPY's looking to break out here. Pretty much did break out, holding this uptrend, going for a retrace to the high earlier in the day. So yeah, it was forming sort of, that bear flag type formation, but we're looking pretty good after these FOMC minutes. QQQ not looking as good as SPY on the 5-minute on the intraday chart, and IWM is looking the best still. Made a new high just recently, new high of day right there. But SPY, you guys, SPY's looking all right. Made a breakout out of this base right here, and we have all this room to run up if we decide to do so. It's looking pretty good. Let's check out the 1 minute. We've been consolidating in this base right here. Slowly climbing up. Yeah, no, someone said it was a bear flag earlier. It's debatable. I agree. But it was an interesting day nonetheless. We had this nice move up and then an immediate sell-off, and now we're looking back up. So it's a good trading day, honestly. If you guys were trading today, definitely some opportunity. I mean, we're actually ripping up right now. Held this uptrend line, and we've been holding above yesterday's high pretty decently. And for any of you guys that are just joining in, I wanted to extend this deal to you guys as well. If our 4th of July sale just ended, but I just dropped a link in there, so you can still get 50% off using that link if you wanted to follow along with us on TrendSpider and use these scanners. BBJ, what are you looking at? What is your setups looking at? There's definitely some solid setups out there in the market right now. Curious what you're looking at. But I'm watching SPY right now. This is like the most appealing thing to me. If you want to trade this, with equity, SPXL is always fun, or just SPY. SPY is the most liquid. You trade the options. Show us something cool. Let's see. What can we do? What can we do? We can look at some insider trades. Let's see if there's any insider or Congress trading that has been going on recently. Let's look at. I don't think Pelosi has traded anything. Pelosi's been pretty inactive, you guys. She's fallen off. January 17th was her last buy. Let's look at. Let's see. CC insider trades. Insider trades are always fun. What do we got? We got TMUS sells. A lot of sells. Let's see the buys. NTWK. I believe we have an insider trader scan. Insider buys in the S&P 500 weekly. Let's check out this one. Insider buy signal. And you guys can import these scans. Let me see if I have the link on deck right here. We actually have the Congress buy scan right here that I'll drop for you guys. If you want to see some Congress buying TPL, that's the only one there. Let me look up the Congress one. Congress is probably funner. I'm going to search in the NMS for any recent Congress trades. Look at it. We actually have some sick results in here. We got Amazon. And then to pair this scanner up, we got the Congress trades on charts indicator. And you can see what's going on if they're buys and sells. So we've had some insider or some Congress buying in Amazon lately. Palantir, let's see what's going on here. Had some Congress buying Palantir. That's pretty cool. That is pretty sick. Because we haven't had any of that too recently except for these two right here. All the buying was done kind of towards the bottom over there. So yeah, that's a cool one. We have a lot of the big large caps in here, guys. We got Microsoft. They just did layoffs, as you can see right there. We got Google with some insider buy action. We got Cisco. So Congress is buying. That's always a good sign. We got Apple. Pretty good there. I like that. That's a good sign for the markets. It's always good to see Congress buying stuff up. Let's go back to the what's happening now. And we have earnings too coming up, you guys. If we pull up the upcoming earnings here, I do know we have a decent amount of earnings coming up. DAL, that is an airline. Let's sort this by date. UAL, so we got the airlines coming up. Morgan Stanley, what else has got here? I know in the next like 2 weeks or so, I think this one is in 7 days. Is in the future we'll do. And then date. We'll still filter for before, I don't know. Let's go by this week. TBNK, let's see, CCC. Where's the big text ones at? Let me pull up. Like Apple, for example, has earnings coming up on July 31st. Let me move this out a little bit to the 2nd, and we'll see what's coming up. Because the earnings run-up plays are always a good one, you guys. Even though they're in a couple of weeks, you can always play the earnings run-up. We have ExxonMobil coming up here. Let me filter this out. Mobile has been, oil has been pretty hot lately. And this one does have earnings coming up. Let me pull up the reports tab right over this way so we can see how it's looking fundamentally. Yeah, Exxon is kind of mid fundamentally. Let's look up CVS. That's another oil stock. Probably has earnings coming up. Yeah, earnings coming up as well. Trading at the lower end of its range. Let's check out the defense. Lockheed Martin. Not bad. Not bad. So oil will be a fun one to watch for earnings. Definitely. What else do we have here coming up? PRGO. Yeah, it's about to be earnings season, so we have quite a bit going on in here. Snapchat, I haven't really seen this stock in a while. This one's been down in the dirt lately for a while now. I'm pretty sure X got bought out. Yeah. Corsair Gaming. That's an interesting one with earnings coming up. Melly, I remember hearing about this one. DraftKings. Is there any stocks you guys are looking out for an earnings run-up play? We got Roku here. Post Team. Let's see. Cube. Net. Oh, I love Net. Cloudflare is an awesome stock. If you look at the revenue growth, it is absolutely insane. EPS growth is insane. Yes. So Net is definitely one I've been looking at lately. It's trying to cross closer to the all-time highs. 1 second here. All right. Let's see. We got down to the end of the list. So, Comcast. I don't know. CMCSA. Yeah, that one's a little boring. A little boring on that one. But let's look at some of these small caps. LTH is honestly a pretty sick one that's coming out recently. Let's see what other feeds that we can get in here, though. CFO buying own stock is cool. Let's see. News, government buys over 15K. Insider trades. Let's do any insiders buying, because we want to see insiders buying stocks. Selling is whatever. They just want their money. But insiders buying is definitely the most significant, because there's only one reason to buy, but there's many reasons to sell. Anything cool here that you guys are seeing? CASY kind of sounds familiar there. GameStop. How is GME doing? Not doing much. I haven't looked at that one in a very long time. SPG is, I see SPG on here quite a bit. If we put the insider trades on chart. Yeah, been some buys on SPG. Solid revenue growth. EPS is okay. That's interesting. What else do we got here? DLHC. Yeah, not a crazy amount there. Something I actually wanted to show you guys too is the Variance Explorer on these golden crosses, because I want to see, there's so many golden crosses right now that I want to see which ones have back tested the best. It's the golden cross trader strategy I'm looking for. Whoops. 1 second here. And if you guys want to back test a bunch of stocks at once on one single, go at it instead of having to do it manually, you can do that. I have the golden cross spotter scan right here. And what I can do is I can clone these into a new watch list. The results of the scan, that is. And it's 79. I'll just type that. Create that watch list. Hit the Variance Explorer. Load in this watch list that I just made. And let's run this up and see what we got. So Amazon, APLD. So APLD, if you can see right here, let me zoom in for you guys. APLD has outperformed on the golden cross by quite a bit. You can see it right over down here. It's all the way over here, meaning it's done very well. So we'll check that one out on the regular back tester. MU has done incredibly well. So APLD, MU. Amazon hasn't outperformed. It's buy and hold, but it's done well. What else we got? Affirm has outperformed pretty well. So we got a few already. This is why the Variance Explorer is so nice, because you can just see which ones are doing good right off the bat. All right, so let's remember that. APLD. I want to see APLD. That one looks insane. We have the Golden Cross Trader strategy up. Let me put on the Golden Cross strategy or indicator. And let's check out these results. This is wild. So the equity itself, as you can see, has gone absolutely nowhere. But the equity curve of the strategy has, ever since 2021, just absolutely been killing it. Like, it basically caught all these run-ups and then avoided the drawdown. It probably caught this run-up, avoided the drawdown. Let's put on the drawdown chart. So the drawdowns are always less on the strategy. But wow, let's take a look at these signals on the chart, because this has been killing it. So as you can see, we went long right here, and then we caught this entire move up and exited at the death cross, which was a very nice gain. And so the stock itself, if you didn't, buy and sell, you pretty much just missed everything. And then you caught this one right here, and then got out for a 70% gain on the death cross. Did take a decent loss right there, a 40% L right there. But that doesn't matter because you caught this massive run up. So that one's pretty cool. Go back to the Variance Explorer here. Double check what else was in there. What else we got? MU was a really good one. It's a pretty nice semiconductor company. You see the revenue's growing pretty well. And the Golden Cross just happened and it backtest very well. So let's let this backtest load. So yeah, it's done good. Since its inception, has kind of underperformed since all the way back there in like 85. But it has been a very consistent strategy. And we just had another signal. So it's looking up. Let's go and check on the market. See what's going on the SPY. SPY was looking really good last time I checked. So let me close the strategy tester real quick. Go back to the 5. Hide the indicator. So SPY has, it's been trending up still. The breakout from this pivot level has kind of started to die off a bit, but we're still above this uptrend line. We're still above yesterday's high. So I'd say the bulls are still in a good spot. Let's check out the small cap IWM. Yep. Got pretty much rejected from the high of the day right there. So taking a breather. Definitely taking a breather. Not sure if anything happened news-wise. Add the news widget real quick. Whoops. The news widget. 3 minutes ago, NVIDIA just hit 4 trillion market cap, by the way. Pretty wild. Let's see. Let's just pull up SPY news. 19 minutes ago. Fed minutes. See Fed portfolio at 6.2 trillion or 20% of GDP. Fed staff saw higher real GDP growth for 2025 than in previous forecast. That's pretty bullish. And then saw inflation to be lower than previous forecast. So bullish stuff in the Fed notes. And look at TLT moving up. TLT is loving it. Let's see what gold. Someone was asking about gold earlier. Gold is doing okay. TLT is looking really nice right now. Let's check out the Qs. Qs is looking up. How does that compare to the SPY? Let's see. Not bad. I think the Qs is doing just a little bit better than the SPY. Nothing crazy though. We're back on Qs. What's on here? As investors try to fresh trade uncertainty, talking about tariffs and whatnot. I don't even think the market cares about all the tariff news anymore. Of course it does, but it's getting old. Let's see. CNC. Oh yeah, CNC. I remember this one. I don't know. Let's check out the fundamentals. This was a guidance pull. So they pulled forward guidance. Always a pretty bad sign, but a lot of companies are doing that because of tariffs. Let me go ahead and check on the fundamentals with our reports tab. I mean, the revenue still looks great. EPS looks great, but they pulled guidance. So, I mean, you don't really pull guidance unless you're like really uncertain about stuff. So, I don't know. It could be a good dip buying opportunity. Let's check out the valuation using the EV to sales ratio. It's sitting down at very low, less than 1 EV to sales. I don't know. Always kind of sketchy buying into stuff with news like this, but at the same time, it could definitely be a solid risk to reward ratio. If I draw the position tool on the chart, let's just click it where we're at now. Hide this EV to sales ratio, and I don't know, where would the risk be? Where would you stop out of this trade? Let's drag it all the way over here. So first, I think the profit target can probably be at least to right there, down to that low. If it were to retrace, I think that would be a decent target to shoot for. And then your risk level, I mean, you could just drag down as far as you're comfortable. Even if you go below this pivot low right there, you still have over a 2R. Yeah, I mean, on a risk to reward basis, it's looking good. Let me pull up UNH. UNH is kind of the same story, a little bit different story as far as the news, but same story as far as, solid fundamentally, and just, had some crazy news come out and shake it up. Again, let's draw this reports position tool. And again, we'll be conservative with the price target there. Drag the stop there. So again, over a 2 risk to reward ratio, still close to 3. If you stop out below that low, I think that's reasonable. So yeah, two very interesting stocks. Something that's been hot as well is ASTS. This is kind of essentially a Starlink competitor. I love these kinds of stocks. I think it's an amazing company trying to get internet to the entire world. I think that's incredible. Love the idea. Had this nice breakout right here, as y'all can see. Basically, a gap up on the weekly chart. Let me add my volume. I'll add just relative volume. And as you can see, the relative volume on the breakout was pretty higher than average, of course. Let's see so this is where the breakouts really started happening, June 4th. So honestly, could be higher. Oh, it's over 2. That's pretty good. It just looks small compared to those previous ones. Let's see. Yeah, I had like 3 times average volume up here on this breakout candle. 2.5 there, 2.5 there. Where'd it break out? So this was the candle that's pretty significant because it broke above this pivot level. Didn't hold above, but yeah, pretty solid breakout volume there. So I don't know. I think it's a really cool company. It's still a very early company. Let's pull up the operating cash flow. See how that's trending on the weekly here. Yeah, pretty sideways, but overall, been growing a decent bit. It is negative. So yeah, the company is definitely not profitable, even on an operating cash flow basis yet. Don't think they've had a positive quarter. No, they haven't. So once this operating cash flow flips from negative to positive, I think it'll, if it does, of course, I don't know if it will or not. Let's see how the revenue is looking, because that's really all we have to go off of here. Yeah. Revenue has been interesting. It was over 4 million over here as it was coming down. But over here, we're honestly like less than a million, 1.9 million here at the top. This one is still a year-over-year gain from quarter 1 2024, sitting at 718K. So yeah, early company, but it's a pretty good one, I think. What was their EV to sales? EV to sales is very, very high. over 320, which, you know, obviously very high. But it's a fun one to watch just on the price action itself alone. Let me check out the small caps again on IWM. Looks like they started taking a breather there. Came down a little bit. Yeah, that's all right. What's Oscar Health doing these days? Bouncing off the 50-week SMA. Not bad. Not bad. But what other stocks were we looking at in that Golden Cross Trader backtest? Let's go back to that. Open the Variance Explorer here. Run this again. Because, yeah, there's a lot of good ones. It's a lot of good ones. Having Golden Crosses lately. FOMC Minutes. What I saw is they had lower inflation expectations and then higher GDP growth than previously. So it seemed pretty bullish. I mean, the minutes is basically stuff that they already had talked about in the last meeting. So the new news will come out at the end of the month. So we'll be live for that. We'll definitely be live. I think it's on the 30th for the next FOMC meeting. I wanted to check out Affirm because Affirm recently had a golden cross and it was backtesting incredibly well. Look at this. So basically, I mean, I was going to say no drawdown, but there is a drawdown, of course, from the top to the bottom there. But it's basically been a profitable signal ever since its inception. If we click on positions here, you can see actually was a losing trade right here, even though it did have a solid uptick. Then over here, we had some nice wins. See, the equity curve is pretty sideways, honestly, but it's doing way better than if you just were buying and holding Affirm, and it just had the signal. As you can see right here, had the golden cross. The candle slipped gold on our custom golden cross indicator. So let's see what this was doing. We had an entry long right here in October 2024. Rode that up. So the problem with these trend following strategies sometimes, not the problem, but the downside is that you usually buy late and then you don't sell the top. So that's kind of the opposite of mean reversion because you're waiting for the trend to start and then you wait for the trend to die. So sometimes, you know, you miss out obviously on selling for really nice gains, but when this death cross happened right here on the 30th, you did still lock in a 19% gain. You had an entry over here back in July of 2023, and you rode the wave up. Death cross happened. Actually, the death cross happened when it had this spike up, which is actually very nice. So you got 160% gain there. So that one's pretty sick. That's why it's performing so well. Guess you could call that lucky, but you know what? That's how the strategy goes. That's the beauty of having a strategy hard-coded is that you're not, you know, going based on your gut feeling. You can just run the strategy, and it'll follow the back test exactly with no questions asked. As you can see, revenue on Affirm has been pretty good. Yeah, their EPS recently, I believe, flipped positive. Let me confirm that over here. Yeah, their EPS flipped positive back there in February 2025, 5 months ago. So some good catalysts for Affirm, and buy now, pay later is getting pretty big. The only problem they have is just people simply not paying their loans back, which is obviously a problem. But yeah, that's a pretty good signal. If you check out the weekly, definitely has some room to go up. If we draw a position tool here, let me take this off for a second. Plot it right there. Oh. plot it somewhere right there. So if you were to take a position on Affirm, I mean, I guess your target would pretty much have to be somewhere all the way up there. And then your stop loss level would have to be, I don't know, under this 50 SMA, wherever you're comfortable. I'd say at least grab a 2R. So maybe it could be under this trend line. So that's not bad. I mean, setting up nice. It made these 2 higher lows on this trend line. Has the golden cross. The golden cross signal does backtest well. Yes, of course, TrendSpider is on Twitter. It's just x.com/TrendSpider. I'll send the link, you guys. We have an awesome, awesome Twitter. Y'all should definitely follow it. FOMC minutes are over. It wasn't an actual FOMC meeting. It was just a minutes drop. So, yes, it is technically over. What else do we got here? Let's go back to our Variance Explorer and run this again real quick. I know there's a couple other ones I wanted to take a look at. There was Affirm. Had some written down too that I was looking at earlier. MBLY, MU. I don't know if we checked out MU. Pull up MU here. So Golden Cross and MU, pretty nice, pretty nice. Again, pretty consistent. Maybe we did actually look at this one. I remember this. Yeah, we did. But again, entry signal just happened. It's in position. Last one was a dub, so that one's good. Fed minutes. I'll drop the actual meeting PDF right here for you guys if you want to go ahead and read it. Maybe have ChatGPT summarize it, but it was mostly bullish stuff from what our news widget was saying. Lower inflation expectations and higher GDP was kind of what I saw from the news that I was looking at. And let's see, APLD we looked at, Amazon we looked at, MU. Etsy is an interesting one. We saw Affirm. Yeah. JC posted something pretty good about what the Fed was saying. Of course, they're saying they're data dependent. As always, that's their classic Fed talk, is they're going to wait and see what the data says. So we'll see. People are expecting rate cuts in September. I can double check that. On the CME Fed Watch. So there is a 30% chance that they don't cut rates in September being priced in right now. In other words, there's a 70% chance that we're getting a rate cut in September right now. Maybe I'll show this to you guys. This is CME Fed Watch, and you can click through the different FOMC meetings. The July meeting is on July 30th, and there's a 93% chance that they are not cutting rates. But when you head to September, there's a 29% chance that they do. And in October, there's only a 12% chance that we won't have lower rates in October. So if you're looking forward to rate cuts, you're going to have to wait till September or maybe October, depending on what the Fed does. This will probably be pretty different from the next Fed meeting in 20 days. So, yep, that is that. So let's see what else we got here on the the Golden Cross scanner. MBLY is an interesting one. Let me pull up what I was looking at here. What's up, Al? No worries. We're still chilling here. What's the news? We just had FOMC Minutes. Just came out not too long ago. Actually, it's been quite a while already. Almost an hour at this point. We've been on here for, I don't know, nearly an hour now. So thanks for hopping in with us, though. But mostly bullish stuff on the Fed minutes. Let's see. We had an ELF Golden Cross lately. Check this one out. This one's interesting. back test is pretty decent, 50% win rate. And it just triggered like 2 days ago. You see the entry long here on the back test. And again, if you guys are just joining, I really want to extend this offer to you guys. The link in the chat that I just dropped is a discount. Our sale just ended, so I'm giving you guys a discount for being here with us on this live stream. You get 50% off, and you get a 14-day trial for a very small fee. And so definitely take advantage of that link, you guys. It's literally not being posted anywhere else. Our sale just ended, but that one is active for today. As a thanks to you guys for hopping on the stream with us. Yeah, there's a very, very low chance that they're cutting rates in July. That has been priced in. So we'll have to wait and see what they say. I can almost guarantee you they're going to say something like, we're going to see what the data tells us for September, and then that'll affect the probabilities for the next meeting. So we'll see. We'll see, you guys. But back to ELF here. Let's check out how this back test was doing. This is a golden cross back test, as it did recently have a golden cross. And like I said, it was like about a 50% win rate, 50-50, max drawdown of 61%. And the way it's trading on the position that's trading on the chart is a little bit interesting. It's kind of trading like in the middle of this range right here, but it could definitely play out. What is the market cap on this one? 3.5 billion market cap. Small caps are definitely leading right now. So, you know, good catalyst there. Small caps continue the run. Yes, the FOMC minutes did get released. VCP trader. Speaking of VCP, we can check out the VCP scanner. Let's see what VCPs we got going on in the markets these days. Take out the golden death cross. Let's see, ANET, APG, anything really cool right off the bat. Disney. Yeah, that one's not bad. It's trading in the middle of that range still. You got GE. GE was actually looking pretty decent last time I saw. Yeah, that one's flying up. Joby. Joby is recently breaking out. If you don't know, Joby is essentially flying taxis. And they just broke out of their is that an all-time high? No, definitely not an all-time high. But it's trading right at the peak of its recent highs. So it should be an interesting one to watch. They're definitely not positive in, I don't even know if they have revenue. Yeah, they have they have like 55K in revenue, but it's increasing. Their revenue is, you know, it's going from not having revenue to something, which is a cool sign. What else do we got on here? We got Net, love Net, Cloudflare. Looked at this one earlier. It's pushing for all-time highs. Wouldn't be surprised to see it hit all-time highs. PLNT, I remember this one is back on it. Forget where it was. Maybe it was like right there. But this one has been basing and consolidating for quite a while now. And yeah, it is making these higher lows. Let me stick volume on. So you're going to have to see volume for this. Just need the regular volume indicator. And do that. So as you can see, the volume, yeah, it's been decreasing in this sell-off, right? Or kind of sell-off. So that's a good sign. You want to see volume decreasing as, you know, we consolidate and form this base. And then ideally a high volume breakout like we saw right here. Did actually have one already right there, as you can see. So yeah, that's actually a decent looking VCP setup. Roblox. Roblox has been on a tear, you guys. I don't know if anyone's in Roblox, but it's been looking great. It has been looking very nice. It broke out from this pivot level, and it literally has not looked back ever since. Yeah, I mean, hasn't been consolidating very long to call this, you know, the most ideal looking VCP, but it's definitely setting up pretty cool right there. What else do we got? Snow. This one's pretty nice. This one's basing. It had this power gap up and kind of basing, filled the gap below it. So this one setting up pretty nice. Yeah, it has some room to run. Has another pivot level here at whatever that is, around 236 or so. So if you're looking at Snow, honestly, you could probably play it up to that line, or just wait for it to break above if you wanted. But it already is basing and setting up pretty nice on the daily, so that's not bad. Uber, this one's been pretty hot because of all the robo-taxi news. Look at that. This one's been breaking up pretty good. Yeah, it's interesting. Uber revenue growth has been incredible. I think the concept of Uber is, an awesome idea. Let me see. Their operating cash flow has been excellent. Let's see their valuation. EV to sales just at 3, pretty nice. EPS, positive, and I think it flipped from negative to positive not too long ago. Yeah. So Uber, I love Uber stock, to be honest. Will Tesla need Uber if they get the robo-taxis working? I don't know. I think Uber has the distribution. Everyone, when you call a taxi these days, it's not even called a taxi, it's called an Uber. So they have that brand equity. So I can see them continuing to do well. AMD's been pretty solid lately. It was brutal for the AMD bulls just until recently. Can't believe we got all the way back down to 78, but now we're back over the hundreds. We're back at 140. Yeah. AMD's, it's a solid company. I think their valuation is honestly, their EV to sales is 6. They did get pretty high up there at 12. I do think their PE ratio at one point was pretty high. It still is. Yeah, their PE ratio at one point, is like over 300. Looks like now it's sitting at about 101, which is much higher than Nvidia's PE, which is 36. But they have a lower EV to sales ratio. So I think AMD's overall a good company. Nvidia is hard to compete with just as far as like growth potential, I guess. But yeah, I think AMD's pretty good. What else we got on this VCP scan? AT&T. This one's been on here for a while. Yeah, this one's just been steady pushing up and to the right. So pretty good there. RTX. Pretty hot with, with war news, I guess. Not the most fun news, but it is setting up nice. It has this consolidation. Volume's been dropping here. So RTX looks pretty nice. This is a nice scan. It's pulling up a lot of good stuff. Let me see. What else we got? LUV. This is an airlines, Southwest Airlines. Yeah, this one's okay. But it is trading at the lower end of its range. How is travel doing in general? We can look at the Jets ETF to see travel, how it's doing. And it's doing okay. Nothing crazy. HPE and IWM. That one's okay. IBM. IBM's pushing, honestly, you guys. Their revenue is pretty just stagnant to the, it's pretty flat, but it is pushing pretty well. DRIs is Darden Restaurants. Pushing up pretty good. Let's see if we have a nice uptrend here. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's not bad. They have pretty solid revenue growth for a restaurant. And let's check out the daily. Daily, yeah, it's starting to form this VCP-like base. It broke out of this pivot right here on this breakout. Decent volume. And so you could probably draw a line here and watch that pivot in this 50-day SMA. You're going to want to see that hold somewhere right there. So yeah, if you're playing the VCP, or if you wanted to see the breakout, like you could have played this breakout, I suppose. And if we draw, like let's say you just got in here or something, you can draw a stop level there. You'd want to see at least a PT, of 10%, which is nothing too far out. If you draw down there, you'd want to see it, to get a 2 risk to reward, about 11% gain. So, solid risk to reward, DRI. This is a way you can use TrendSpider. I love using the position tool because you can kind of gauge, before you get in, how your risk to reward is, and really just easily calculate it by dragging the levels for your stops and take profits or price target. Just drawing them up pretty easily. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, those are the VCP results. Is there anything else you guys are looking at? We can take a look at some of these small caps and see how they've been doing since we last looked at them from the webinar. We marked HL. Hasn't done a whole lot. Nice volume increase, though, recently. What else do we got? AUPH. I mean, this one is honestly looking pretty good. The revenue growth is looking nice. I don't know. This operating cash flow is growing incredibly well. Profitable. Always a good sign. Is the EPS positive? EPS went from negative to positive. Actually, this is a pharmaceutical, so it's always, pharmaceuticals can be a little bit scary. But, I mean, trading at this end of its range and with that recent flip from negative EPS to positive, I don't hate that at all. Do not hate that at all. And what we did, you guys, is we analyzed these on bubble maps on the webinar that we did. So if I just export, because these are there's probably a couple new scan results in here. So if you just clone these into a new watch list and type small caps on radar, new. I'll just do 7/9 because that's today's date. Create a watch list out of the scan result. I'll drop the link to the small cap radar scan if you guys want it. And then, yeah, the way you do it, you just go ahead. You can even just import it right here. You click this, it'll take you right to the store. But once you have the scan results, you press scan, you get the results, you clone them to a watch list. A really awesome thing you can do is stick them into a stock market map. I'll let that load up for a second here. And there's lots of different maps that you can use. Tile maps, bubble charts. The tile maps is probably one that you guys have seen quite a bit. This is a tile map right here. So you can customize this to whatever you want. If you can do our small caps on radars, you can do the tile size for market cap, and then I don't know, what else should we do? We could do the EV to sales ratio for the color. So the ones with the lowest EV to sales ratio will be highlighted, and the biggest market cap will be the biggest. I don't want to do that by market cap because we want a small market cap for a lot of these. I'm actually going to make the tile size EV to sales, and then I'm going to make the the color, probably, let's do revenue. Let's see how this looks. So again, the size is the EV to sales. So, and then the color is going to be the revenue. So the green ones are going to have, the higher revenue. And you see SFM, Oscar, sitting up there at the highest revenue, EAT, ALHC, and you can just click on these. So ALHC is the one that we saw earlier, bouncing off the 50-week SMA. And then the EV to sales is just 1.3, which is pretty good. And there's lots of stuff you guys can do with this. I was actually using the bubble chart. We can stick that over here. And you can see these are color coded. Let me zoom in on this. And this just kind of organizes all of these stocks by their different metrics that you can analyze. So this one, the size of the bubble is market cap. And then the ones far to the right over this way have the highest revenue. And then you want them as low to this bottom line as possible, because that means the EV to sales ratio is that low. So basically anything down here towards the bottom and way to the right is good. So let's look at EAT. EAT looks, great fundamentally, but it's trading really high still. So let's look at ENSG. It's kind of same story. And then I keep seeing this ALHC pop up, and it looks pretty good. As you can see, that 50-week SMA is nice. We got, pretty solidly good revenue, getting close to $1 billion, and just an EV to sales ratio of 1.3, which is very, very reasonable. Another blue tag is HL. You can close that out. And the blue tags are the one from the webinar that we tagged to be the top picks from the Russell 2000 based on our scan and our smart checklist. And this is a mining company, and with gold doing so well, it's not that surprising that it's showing up as one of the top picks. But the price hasn't gone up that much to really represent it. That revenue had a massive jump, and the valuation is good. The volume is going crazy over here. So this is a good find, HL. Definitely do your own due diligence on this stuff, of course. BCRX was that one we were just looking at. ARQT, relatively higher EV to sales, but it's still 7, which is reasonable. And then you got an uptrend up and to the right over here. So from, the scan results that we made based on our small cap radar scanner, these are, the picks that our scanner picked up that are the top picks from the Russell 2000. Just to recap quickly what the scan is even looking for. It's looking for 2 quarters of revenue growth, EPS growth, operating cash flow growth, and it caps out the EV to sales ratio limit at 10. So anything with above a 10 EV to sales ratio, which is, I guess, considered not overvalued, but not ideal value, is filtered out from the scan. And then we filtered everything to be have to be trading above this 50-week SMA, which is just an overall trend filter, because generally anything below that 50-week SMA will be probably in a downtrend. So as you can see, when it's trading below it here is making lows, and when it broke above, that uptrend flipped, or the downtrend flipped into an uptrend, which is why we have those filters. Again, the link to import this scan is down in the chat. But we've been here for over an hour, guys. Probably going to call it pretty soon. Does anybody have any questions about TrendSpider or anything before we call it a day here? Let's take one last look at the market. SPY is looking good. SPY is looking good, guys. It's holding this downtrend very nicely. Uptrend line very nicely. And what's the high? 624.72 is the high that we're looking for. The all-time high looks like it is 626.28, which I believe, is like right here is the all-time high. So we're still fighting against today's high, but it's looking like it's looking really good overall. So good look there. Good look for the bulls. Hopefully we hit another all-time high. That would be incredible. Let's see what else we got going on IWM, because we've just been talking about small caps a lot, and they are starting to outperform recently. And so it's also on the come up. Check out TLT one more time. TLT's been looking great the past 2 days. Very, very nice. I think it filled the gap. The low is 86.85 and the high was 86.87. Gap is filled on TLT. Probably going back to zero like it has been. Just kidding. But I hope TLT does well for personal reasons. No, I'm not worried about TLT. It's just bonds. And gold. Gold's looking okay. So still holding this base up here. Super, super choppy. So many gaps here on gold. I wouldn't even, yeah, crazy stuff on gold. You could probably look at the futures and it's a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, less gappy on the futures because it doesn't close. I mean, you probably could just use the after hours session on gold and it'll look the same. But yeah, you guys, that's our final look at the market. Appreciate y'all for coming. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Before I go, I'm dropping the discounted link one more time. Again, you can get 50% off. Our actual sale just ended, but this sale is good for the next few hours. And so if you're looking to get a good deal on TrendSpider, you missed our 4th of July sale, use that link. You can even just get a trial for like $14 and test out the platform. You can build your scan, see if it's for you. I think it will be because it's awesome. Can't really trade without it these days with all the scans I rely on and custom indicators now. So definitely swoop that deal while it's here. Other than that, guys, thank you for showing up. And I'll probably see you guys definitely on the 30th for FOMC, but probably before that, I'm going to do some digging and see if there's any other events like earnings that we can go ahead and get a live up for you guys for. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.